Business Lab.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Business Lab. Now, this podcast is sponsored by our venue sponsor, Craft by 3, and our media magicians, Studio 5 Corp. Today's podcast, I'm going to be speaking to Davini from Kawobunga. Hi, Davini.
Hi, Sofian.
Yeah, amazing. So we had a chat, a nice chat before the podcast. But before that, I want to go a little bit into who Davini is. So just in case you don't know now, she serves as the Sustainability Partnerships Manager at Kawobunga Global Private Limited. She's a Certified Sustainability Excellence Associate by the International Society of Sustainability Professionals. She has 3 years of experience in project management, event planning, and stakeholder engagement. She's also knowledgeable in core sustainability issues, trends, concepts, and frameworks, and she applies these expertise on projects both professionally, personally, and on a voluntary basis. Welcome to our set.
Hi, welcome. Thank you.
It's so nice having you here. We're going to talk about sustainability today. And I know we had a little bit of conversation. So maybe just to kick things off, could you just share a little bit? What are some amazing, inspiring stories of businesses that have embraced sustainability?
Well, Sofian,
Yeah.
I'll just begin with what I'm wearing today.
Whoa, okay.
What you see, right? What you see. So I really, as you have mentioned, my profile really embrace sustainability on a whole lifestyle level. Beginning with sustainable fashion from local brands such as Refresh. So, for example, this blue jumpsuit is from Refresh, which is a local fashion house that reuses clothing, that resells clothing that pre-owned clothing to reduce the amount of carbon footprint and waste and manage waste for water in Singapore. And not only that, I also purchase things like this water bottle, which is my thermos from the Animal Project, which is a art house designed from art house with products like thermos, food containers and a lot of other products like that, designed by kids and students with autism as well. And reuse products like this bag, for example, which is from HSBC Life, which is really reusable. And these are, for example, everyday things that you can use in your life, that you can use on a daily basis. And where are these products from? They are from local brands like Refresh. There's also, I came across another brand by local fashion designer Hafisa Ghazali, who is a local Muslim fashion designer for women's wear. And then she uses ethically sourced materials like linen and tencel, which are less energy and water intensive.
Wow.
And these products are ethically sourced, and she makes sure that her supply across the supply chain, there is ethical standards for people who are working as well, and they are fairly treated. So other than that, I love to shop at the Green Collective, which is Singapore's largest warehouse of local entrepreneurs selling ethically sourced and sustainable products from things like from products like Oasis Beauty Kitchen for fashion and health and well-being, like shampoos that does not use plastic packaging, even soaps that are packaged in reused milk cartons as well. Who would have thought about that? But that is really what sustainability is all about. It's in our everyday life, and you can find them very easily in local brands like that. Wow. Don't even look at local brands. Don't even look at these kind of small local brands. You also have large brands that are looking at cleaning the soil, like clean soil. You have also larger corporations like the real estate. City development, CDL. They are looking at sustainable redevelopment projects as well. Yeah.
Well, there's so many brands that you just mentioned. I think it's almost as if like you're introducing us to a new world out there.
Yeah, that's because everyone is transitioning towards sustainability already. It's not a nice to have peripheral consideration of any business. It is a need to have, because what are we living in? The climate. And we are operating in a climate crisis. Just like the pandemic, we have to adapt our businesses to sustainability, because that is what we live in.
So what is it? Why is it no longer a nice to have? Why is it not like it's a must have? Why is it essential now more than ever?
Well, I mean, just to reframe our thinking about sustainability, when we think about sustainability, it sounds like, oh, we conjures up pictures of the environment, trees, and nature, but actually, it's a lot more than that, all right? So, we, in the individual, operate in a company, and a company operates in the economy, which is a small circle. Surrounding that small circle is a larger outer circle, the society at
Yeah.
large. And enveloping these two concentric circles would be the environment. So we cannot see ourselves as a small overlapping shaded area of a Venn diagram between with two circles, one the business and one the environment. No, because we exist within the larger society. And when we have problems that are happening to people, that are happening to the climate, the environment, that's when we panic in our on the individual and the business level. So when we reframe our thinking, then we realize that we cannot have it as a add-on consideration.
People, planet, and
Profit.
profit.
That is the
that's
triple bottom line.
triple bottom line. You learned something new today, guys.
That is the sustainability framework as well that a lot of businesses are operating under. It's not just profit, no.
Yeah. I mean, when you mention about sustainability practices in corporates, especially, there's a lot of mumbo jumbo. There's a lot of jargon. Please do a public service and help us demystify these jargons. Like, for example, GRI or TCFD or GHG. Could you tell us what it means, and for our viewers?
So of course, yeah, it's really, really confusing for the layperson and even businesses who are not really informed or have climate literacy about these jargon. You don't necessarily have to be educated in science or geography or finance to know what these are. Honestly, I didn't come from these backgrounds either. I just took a course in sustainability and I just read the news and see what's happening to the world. And then I understood what these are. So for example, to start off with, you mentioned GRI.
Yeah.
GRI stands for Global Reporting Initiative, and it's the world's most used sustainability reporting platform with over 35 standards. So for this platform, it is really widely recognized.
Okay.
So if you have this GRI reporting done for your company that accounts for carbon footprint and the social part and governance part as well, you will be not just locally recognized but internationally recognized. It is used by corporations like the UN and CERES, which is the Coalition of Environmentally Responsible Economies.
Nice.
And although, I mean, there with every framework, with every reporting standard, there are also pros and cons. So
Sure.
while this is quite comprehensive,
Yes.
it is not necessarily locally contextualized to what are the local players and the resources that are used in the company. Right, it's just a broad-based comparison that you can compare across different companies.
Okay.
The other one that you mentioned
TCFD. What is that?
stands for Task Force Task Force of Climate Related Financial Disclosure, TCFD, Task Force of Climate Related Financial Disclosure, which is a climate, which is, basically it is about how lenders, banks, insurers can understand how a company is managing its environmental and physical, environmental and regulatory risks, regulatory environment risk.
Yeah.
And it is just to give the people who are lending you money, who are financing the company, more confidence on how you're managing your risk, your sustainability risk. Can you operate when there is a flood, for example? Can you operate when you lose your employees to, for example, the pandemic, for example?
I see. And what does GHG stand for?
GHG is greenhouse gas.
Okay.
So greenhouse gas protocol is another very famous protocol that measures your carbon emissions across all fronts as well. So your industrial, your across all sectors, like your industrial, your your educational sector, it's just a whole list of different parts to measure your GHG emissions. There is both the inventorying and the reporting approach, and under the inventorying approach, we have the organizational and the organizational side, where you can have the company reporting on the emissions coming from the company itself, or the company reporting on emissions coming from the from the assets that he has financial and managerial control over.
So they make a distinction between the two.
And why do they have to do that even? Because there is a lot of double counting of emissions. Because within the company, there's so many people. And then if one person counts, oh, there's this much emission, then the other person counts, oh, there is even more emissions. There is a lot of confusion. So with a standardized reporting like this, GHG protocol, you can be sure to have a more reliable source of source of information for you to do your calculations on, to see where you have to improve continuously as well. And another very famous thing that you hear nowadays, the buzz, right, about GHG protocol is scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Everyone will be hearing this, will be like, oh, yeah, I don't understand what scope 1 or scope 2 is. This related to the hospital or what? No, it's not. I assure you, no. Well, thank God it's no. But scope 1, if emissions come from the reporting entity or the company itself, where it's your company vehicles. What are the emissions produced by that? The company's operations itself. Scope 2 emissions come from upstream activities such as the purchase of electricity, steam, heating, and cooling. Scope 3 emissions come from upstream and downstream activities such as the purchase of capital goods. Even your employee commuting from the bus to the office, that's also emissions counted. Business travel, the cost of the product management, and the end of product life cycle management as well. When the product is discarded, and how much emissions that is going to cost you. Cost of the lease assets as well, and franchises. So it's indirect emissions and direct emissions that goes into GHG reporting.
Nice. So, when you mention a lot of the technical side of things, I think what's on some of our viewers' mind, some of them might want to kickstart their journey, but they don't know how, right? What are some of the common misconceptions when it comes to sustainability in the corporate space or for business owners that's relevant, that they should know before they start their journey? What are some of those common misconceptions? Can you debunk some of those myths for us?
For sure. I mean, the biggest barrier is money, right? People think, sustainability, I need to spend this much money on the report. I need to spend so much of high upfront initial costs. That is one. Another one is a culture change, which companies may not feel that their employees can adapt to as well. So these are two major roadblocks. And also, thirdly, it's like too much of a challenge for small businesses to take on, for example. But obviously, these are all myths and misconceptions, because this climate crisis is going to affect all of us. No one is going to be left out from this problem. So it's either you adapt and you be resilient and you move on, or you get left behind and you don't survive. It's as simple as that, right?
Comes down to that.
Yeah, it is really. I'm not even joking. The thing that companies and businesses can do is that they have to have that mindset shift. And how can they have that mindset shift? Just like me, I didn't come from a sustainability background. I took a course, and then I got to know about all these concepts, all these core concepts and fundamentals of rethinking about our environment vis-a-vis our corporations, right? But how corporations are surviving within the larger environment. So when you educate your business leaders, your senior management, and your employees on sustainability core concepts and business practices, sustainable business practices, can you input that shift, that business transformation shift into your core business model that is not peripheral to your strategic goals?
Wow.
That's one.
It's not peripheral. Okay.
Yeah, that's one way to like debunk it. And obviously the other way is to get on board your ESG consultants, your sustainability consultants, to measure, evaluate, and monitor the impacts of your corporation. How much of emission, how much of costs are you garnering through a lot of the waste that you are producing, and see what kind of long-term benefits can you get from changing your operations to maybe more energy efficient light bulbs, energy efficient water conservation models as well.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? I think the common misconception is that it's too complicated, it costs too much money, and where do I start?
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
So, I mean, that's why, that's where a lot of companies come in to help, such as Kawobunga, come in to help to debunk these myths through the training. We have this enterprise sustainability training program where we help corporates really change their mindset of what sustainability is in the corporate world, and also connect them with independent consultants who can evaluate, monitor, and measure their impacts in terms of ESG, environment, social, and governance impacts, which are quantifiable, right? These are really quantifiable monetary risks that they are taking by not getting on board the sustainability bandwagon. There is an equation, really. There is an equation that you can derive about when you're not, for example, when you're not transitioning to more energy efficient cost operations, right? You are really losing out this amount of money, which the consultants can tell you, and they can also, and then that's where Kawobunga also comes in with our program to come up with creative solutions to turn around the business model. How do we look at products and services that can be more sustainable in the long run and be more creative to solve business challenges, so and also serve long-term goals and purpose fulfillment goals that helps the company do good, make more profit, and eventually do even more good, because that do good is the end goal.
Wow, that's amazing, because I feel that if companies leave or they don't join this train and it leaves them at the train station, not only are they not going to make a profit, but eventually the entire business will be at enormous risk. Would you say so?
Exactly. Of course, it's quantifiable, it's monetizable. There's the equation. The equation is the monetary risks of avoiding of avoiding sustainable business practices equals to the potential impact of not taking on that sustainable business practices, multiplied by the probability if that is not being taken in the assessment time frame.
Davini, but why do you think that a lot of people still have that mental block that, you know what, no, I'm just gonna ignore, I'm not gonna do anything about sustainability for my business, especially if they are a small business owner? Why do you think there's still that veil there?
Well, I mean, survival cost of living is really high in Singapore currently, but not for long. Let's change that. Let's turn that around, right? With the way we are thinking about our society. Because there is this very popular first cost, least cost thinking where if you find a light bulb that is cheap, $3, and then you have an LED light bulb which is more energy efficient but costs like $4, but your long-term benefits of the LED light bulbs, you're going to have a lot more cost savings on that over 1 month rather than your incandescent light bulb, which is $3.
It's amazing. First cost and least cost
First
in the
cost,
long
least
term,
cost
right?
thinking.
That's amazing. That's an amazing concept that I think business owners need to have top of mind.
Exactly. So that's where your accounting comes in, all your framework comes in, and that's where you get all your partners also to come in. And you have sustainable partners in your supply chain, in your value chain. That also improves your credibility and improves your competitive advantage in that value chain. Because you're going to be left out if your suppliers, your competitors are choosing more companies with more sustainable scorecards, right? That's one thing. And then your marketing, your branding will be affected because of reputational risks. And then the other thing is that you're going to also lose your security and maintenance of government tenders as well.
Wow, that's a big one. I think in a short interview, you've exposed the climate and the need, the urgency of getting on this train. Thank you so much, Davini, for this enlightenment. Right. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us for the podcast. We've come to the end for this current episode. I think there's a lot more gems we could have gotten from her. So I'd like to thank our venue sponsor, Crowd by 3, and of course our media magicians, Studio 5 Corp, for sponsoring us for the equipment and the magic that happens in the studio. Thank you so much for showcasing the sustainable fashion that you have at the same time. Follow SMCCI on our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and also watch us on YouTube. And of course, you can also listen to this on Spotify. Till next time, catch you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.